Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of the Wires Den. It's such a pleasure to be here this week after the April Fool of last Monday. We were really looking forward to that event. For those of you who missed it or were under a stone or something, we welcome the rabbits into For Honor. So it was pretty fun to play that prank on you. And I think we have a small video that was done on the social media last week. So on Monday, I think we released that, or before. So maybe we can take a look, Max. I love it. I've loved the rabbits ever since I've seen the first video like 12 years ago. And in case you've missed it, we dropped some hints since last week. On the show, I talked about having something different in game. So the monolith happened at the same time. So reading all the theories about the monolith was super interesting. And the symbol in the middle is actually the symbol in the washing machine in the rabbits game, like this one. So if you've played the game before, but you had to be pretty clever. Some people figured it out. Then the weekly arcade quest featured the word raving and rabbits, among many other things. And I mentioned it 2 times. And even if you go back on the show last week and I emphasized on raving and then on rabbits, so we gave some hints. And on Monday when this happened, actually late Sunday night for us in Montreal, was at midnight that it happened, 9 p.m. in California, maybe in the morning in Europe. It was very fun to read all the comments, and some people at first were like, what is that? I'm uninstalling the game. But then I think people got it was April 1st and it was a very fun joke. And you had fun. It was for only one day. So now the rabbits are behind us. But we're going to come back to the rabbits at the end of the show because this week's Community Corner is all about rabbits. We're going to do a little homage to our April Fool Day. So that was fun. Moving on, we had a live update this morning, which actually didn't work. So try again. So there was a technical error, so we redeployed the patch to v2.07.01 on all platforms. It was done 30 minutes ago. The downtime should be done by now. So it was a 20-minute downtime. So sorry if we had a maintenance is done. Yes, thank you, Alex. So maintenance is done. So sorry about that this morning. We had a glitch. It happens to the best of us. So some of the changes in the feeds, the blink, it's a bug fix. We fixed an issue that prevented the blink feed cooldown to be applied during the feed activation. And in terms of map, in Kazan Castle, we fixed a collision issue located at the capture point 5 in Kazan Castle. So those are the things that we fixed. Then tournament. We have a couple this week. Thank you to the Arena who tweeted yesterday a bunch of those. Really helpful. And you told me on Twitter that time difference was good. Now I see BST. Okay, there's really someone making fun of me. What the is BST? I've never seen BST of my entire life. So while I'm doing the first one, please, Alex, if you can find what BST means. So seriously, I need to pay more attention to that run of show before the show actually starts. British summertime. Okay, that's what BST means. So Arena.tv, it's a 1v1 tournament on PS4. It's this Saturday on April 6th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. It's 100% community funded prize pool. Wire Trials is a 4v4 Dominion on PC this Sunday, April 7th at noon Eastern Time again. First place we get $40 USD and all donation up to $80 so far. Then we have the Pit. It's the Pit are doing 2 tournaments. Is it the same? They're both on the same day. So April 10th at noon at 12 a.m. BST, so in the middle of the night. Okay, I'm sleeping at that time usually. So first place getting $60. Second place, 30,000 Digimos in broadcast currency. And the third place, 15,000 Digimos. Tournament is only for EU, UK region. So if you are not from this region, you cannot register for the tournament. There's a second one. That's why. There's one for USA, the America, West Indies, and Canada as well. Woohoo! So same concept, same time at midnight BST on April 10. Same price pool. It's on Xbox One, both of them. $60. Second place is 30,000 Digimos. I don't know what Digimo is. Third place is 15,000 Digimos. So I'm putting my ignorance on the table. My apology. So those are the tournaments this week. Again, if you have stuff about tournament, send us footage. I want to know who won the pit, who won the arena.tv. And next week on the show, we should have someone else to talk about tournament. Someone you already know. We'll see you next week. And we have a roadmap, a new roadmap to share. Here we go. This is a late addition to the show. I think we added that like 10 minutes before the show. So the Fukuro Festival starting today. Then this weekend, Dominant Vanquisher. Then we have Paragons and Sovereign next week. On April 12th, the Extra XP Fest with something to be revealed. The Rank Slayer Challenge. And on the 13th, we have the Year 3 Season 1 Faction War result. Who is winning in the Faction War right now? I'm sure the Vikings are. Then it's Hunting of Dead Shades. A Breach Wire Challenge on the 19th of April. And on April 25th, ladies and gentlemen, is a Year 3 Season 2 reveal. So this is going to be a packed show like we do for every season. We've already started to work on it. It's promising to be very interesting, and I'm pretty sure you will love the new hero, and I love the art we're using right now in the roadmap. And the next day is the Rank Warrior Challenge with XP Boost Reward. So a packed month ahead of us. So in 3 weeks from today is the Season 2 of Year 3 reveal. So it's going to be same time, same place, but bigger set, more people, and longer show. So usually it's the show when we end it, we are all exhausted. Compared to today when we end it, we're just moving on with our day. So, new arcade weekly quest, and it's good we have Phil on the show today. So, it's the Fukuro Festival. So now, let's read that in a dramatic tone. The samurai have gathered to challenge the best in honor of Fukuro, the divine owl of Ayuden. Fight your way through intense battles and rise as the new champion of Fukuro. Hey, I know you were in that camera. So, also new event order, Dominant. Okay, can we go back to real color now? Dominant, thank you. Dominant Vanquisher is to be the faction with the most Dominion match wins. You need to participate in order to be to get some reward. It's from April 5th, so tomorrow 1 p.m. until Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And this week, with new content of the week, it's Fairy Lights. Let's take a look, and then we're coming back with our 3 guests for the Q&A. So here we are. Fuck, this image is stretched. Yeah, it's cuddled up a bit. Like we seem super far away in the couch. You see, we try to be symmetrical. Right. So Steph and I are wearing the same shirt. On sale, UB Workshop, designed by a member of our community. So I'm joined by Philippe Grégoire, game designer on Arcade Mode. He was there last week to talk about arcade. Stefan Jawinski, a regular of the show, lead game designer on the Fight team that you already know, and Christian Diaz, art director, also a regular on the show. But we see Christian usually more on the bigger stream, like the longer one, and sometimes in smaller streams.
Yeah, I'm low-key guy.
Yeah,
you know?
Christian is a man of many talents. So thank you very much, everybody who sent us questions this week. We got a bunch. I don't know why, though, Stefan got more questions. I wonder why.
I think we can leave the show maybe and leave.
No, maybe we can keep some for later in the season. So we have a bunch. What we'll try to do is distribute the questions here and there. And we have who asked the question, so I will probably say it unless it's a very weird name that I cannot pronounce. So if that's the case, I don't want to look like a fool. So let's start. For Stefan. Actually, the first two are for you.
Do I ask a question or do you?
I'm asking the question. That question is here. I am asking the question. You are answering.
Okay.
Do you really want me to answer this question?
Sure.
And it start with Stefan from Raven Verona. Will heroes be getting another round of buffs so that all heroes are similarly viable? Do you really expect me to answer that question? You don't want that to happen.
Pick your answer. I guess it should be fun. Yeah. So generally, what do we want? We want the characters to all be competitively viable across our game modes: Duel, Brawl, Dominion, the rest. Right. We can see like Orochi, does have a hard time even after the rework, being the external attacker, initiating combat as much as we'd liked. Sustaining seems to be okay once you get in, the second light and so on, even the third light's okay. But to be able to get that first step is still very difficult for Orochi, for example. Same thing on someone like a Kensei, who was one of the first major reworks. Side light are still 600 MS, so they're basically useless on this character. And while Kensei is good, kind of okay, Kensei's not destroying the universe or anything like that, so there's no reason why these pieces can't be tuned up to fit a little bit better. At the same time, it's a matter of balancing, are these the most high-value changes to work on right now versus some other characters, such as Lawbringer Raider, for example, that need to happen, or system-level changes, stance change 100 MS for everybody, escape, nerfs that we might talk about later on, and so on. And it's a matter of prioritizing.
We cannot do everything at the same time.
Exactly. At the same time, the interesting note is if you look at Lawbringer Raider, for example, they were the first ones that got major pieces added to them in year one. Shove on block was added to Lawbringer, and stunning tap cancels were added to Raider. At the time, that seemed, absurdly strong, and now, doesn't quite initiate well enough or sustain combat well enough. So this is what we're trying to prove now with these characters, but the intention has never been to leave anyone behind.
Good, thank you. So second question for Stefan from the Filthy Spaniard. That's a name I'm always having fun with. So we've seen some much welcome improvements to the Dominion UI recently, but are there any plans to improve the Fight UI?
Yes, so obviously we don't like a few of the problems that are inherent right now in, let's say, external UI attacker indicators or lack thereof. Right now we're in a period where we're trying to transition our UI systems from one thing to another thing within the Fight HUD. Until that happens, we're going to be just waiting for that to happen. And then once that is unlocked, we should be able to move on some of these topics.
Okay. Mr. Diaz, still with us?
Sir.
Next question is for you. From Andre Black. Will you update all heroes' customization options, like removing patterns on shoulders and bringing colors to little pieces of gear like Wulin and Black Priors have?
Yeah, That's true that when we work on the Wooling, we approach the customization, the player expression differently. It was a benchmark for us, and now we're looking on all the other characters, the previous one, and we're like, okay, we could improve this. What I can say is that we're on it. Actually, we're working on the Berserker, for example, to expose better the play expression, add more areas where you can have the material change. It's just a long process, but we're on it. And actually, it's the Berserker. So, and then we'll progress on other characters.
Cool. Again, for you, from Rollfig, will soldiers ever get new outfits? It's been a question for a while now, and they all look generic and really breaks the immersion. You can hear female voices in the crowds, but there are none in sight. They make new outfits for them every event. Why can't they just implement some of those?
Well, we wanted to do that for a long time ago, and we're working on it. We'll try to make this happen. I reviewed the first base mesh last Tuesday, so we're on it as well. And it's going to look more historical for the minions.
Oh, no. Interesting. Cool. And the answer here, there's a smiley face. So
because I'm happy, you know,
because
something.
Good. So Philip.
Yeah.
Question for you from LJuice34. I like the new additions to the arcade mode, Survive Target. Can we hope to see more experimentation with this mode, such as adding an objective, capture, defend point, or a PvP quest?
Yeah, so that's a good question. For the first few months that we've had Arcade released, we were focusing basically all our efforts on creating those weekly quests and adding new features to it to increase our variety and our offer. But now that we've actually caught up on all the work we had to do, we're now able to move our focus more on the arcade mode as a whole, and be able to do bigger changes for the whole game mode instead. So that's why for the next few updates, all our focus is on that. It's on fixing problems, issues that we have with the mode as a whole, instead of creating new content for those weekly quests. Because we all know the weekly quests are gated with the gear, so not all players that have access to the arcade can play those. So now we want to turn our eyes on affecting everybody now with our changes and not only some players. But for sure, down the line, we still want to try new things eventually, but right now we're going to slow down on that.
Okay, to make sure that everything works, and then we're going to experiment.
Exactly, yeah. We want to do big changes before.
That's one thing that I should say as a global level. It's oftentimes we see requests for people for changes, and obviously we cannot do everything at the same time. Mm-hmm. It comes down to what are the big priorities to fix the most important things. And then there are things that, yes, would be nice to have, but it takes longer to make. So it's true for arcade, it's true for fight, it's true for art, it's true for everything. It's for level design. At one point, we need to, UI, so we just need to be careful about those things. Yeah. Stefan, how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good,
was that the question?
So, from Lord Jado to Stefan and the fight team. So, fight team, this one's for you. With the knowledge of the game that you have now, if you could go back in time to Forerunner's development, what integral mechanics of the fight system would you change, remove, or add? Oh, interesting question.
So at a high level, I think basically we would be doing what we're doing now before launch, obviously. Right now, the big switch that we're trying to do is go from a very defensive turtle stalling runaway meta into an offense meta, or at least a good balance between the two. This would be what we would focus on, both at the character level and at the system level, for sure.
One thing I noted is when we were developing the game, and we're playing a lot in tournaments and every Friday and stuff, we were playing the game in a certain way.
Yeah.
And it was meant to be played, but then when the game came out, that's when we realized that you guys are playing the game differently. So that's why some of the probably decisions made early on were suddenly we had to evolve, because you're not playing the same way we do. I remember the infamous Hero series.
Yes.
And the 1v1 tournament, and we saw the Festival of the Turtle.
The unlock ability as well?
Yeah, unlock deck and a Turtle Festival.
I mean, the positive thing about that, at least, was that people were attacking quite effectively because you couldn't parry. But at the same time, yes, the day I remember the most is seared into my brain is day 2 after it launched, when everyone went to, I think, Roman's desk and tried to beat some random online player and nobody could. And it was like, yeah.
It's not after launch. It's actually in our
The
alpha.
one of the.
Was it the day after?
It's one of the
Yeah,
alpha. One of the alpha.
Yeah.
And
Alright.
I remember I think Pope tweeted a picture of that
Yeah.
Yes.
while back, and I think 5 or 6 people. It started with Roman. He got his ass kicked, which was hilarious, because Roman doesn't like to lose. And then like many dev testers. I think it's Michel Moreau
Yeah, Michel was
who
there.
managed
Yeah.
to beat the guy
I went through quite a list before.
before
but yeah,
someone managed to beat him. So it was
but yeah,
interesting.
It wasn't someone who could parry. It wasn't someone who could deflect. It wasn't someone who quite was like.
We should have
It was-
checked who was not in the office that day. It was probably one of the dev testers who stayed back at home and was teaching us how to play. I'm kidding.
Low. But yeah, I mean, like that was an illuminating day for sure. I like that a lot. It was cool. It was scary.
So, Steph, how is the team from Royal Fitzroy? How is the team dealing with balancing the game for casuals, casuals, and the competitive crowd? Clearly, the matrices last time showed various discrepancies between the tier list, competitive tournaments, and the casual player base. Aramusha being so high up in the matrix, but so low in the tiers.
So generally, I think what we're trying to show with like the state of balance and stuff like that is to show what does full population look like, what does Platinum Plus look like, and then what does competitive tier list look like that's made by Setmix and the other top level players. The intention to be, I think, to show what is similar between the groups and what is different between the groups. And this is really interesting because when you look at the ultra ruthless top level players who will use whatever is in the game to the extent that it is effective versus a full population player who is playing the way that we described earlier with pre-launch players within the dev team, where it is play it, as appears to be the fun, easy, let's play it like this way. What we're trying to get is everyone to understand the differences there and also make the kind of unhealthy pieces that they use to be a little more similar to what everyone uses and kind of vice versa. And I think we're starting to be much more effective with both hero launches that they live in a world that is a little more worthwhile for both, as well as the targeted nerfs that are not strange, I think, to one group or another. So I'm kind of hoping, especially with the Season 10 mid-season patch and so on, we'll see these worlds come together a bit more, so that's a little less shocking to one end of the spectrum or other.
Good. So Riaz, from roll run, like 3 questions. My question is mainly for Viking heroes. Will there be an option to remove ornaments on Vikings?
Yeah, actually, that's funny. We had a discussion a week ago about that, so we're investigating. I think we're pretty positive about it, but it has some interdependency with other departments. But I hope that this can be true in the next coming month.
Roran also wants to know. I guess he's a Viking.
Yeah.
Will we ever see new tattoo design for Viking hero? Some cannot have tattoo. Rip Warlord.
Yeah, we that's part of the investigation we're doing on the characters. For sure, we've been really focused on the outfits, the season outfits, and maybe we neglected a little bit the Vikings and the tattoo. So we were going to. It's actually a good point. So we're going to put in our list, and we might have somebody who can work on that. So yeah, it's a good point.
And the next one is probably the most important question of the show today.
Boy.
Yeah. When Islander will get pants? Seriously, I love the Scots reference, but I think a more Viking way would be more damn cool. Will they get pants? It's cold out there, man. It's cold.
It's cold. There's a natural ventilation. No, we don't want to violate the Scots culture, and they look badass. In the battlefield, we want it we wanted these guys to be in the game. And stop it, please. Stop it. So we're gonna think about it. It didn't sound right. I guess it's that. So sorry. We'll think about it.
Okay.
But we're happy to have the Scots with the kilt. It's great thing. Thank you.
I told you it was the most important question of the show. Philip,
Yes.
from Habalicious, I guess. Will you please make the arcade outfit rewards easier to get because no one seems to get them? Now, I'm pretty sure I'm singing the same tone you wrote.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you hit that, I'm for sure. Yeah, so I'll take this question more generic. Let's say that a lot of the questions we receive were about arcade rewards. So as a whole, we do agree that with most of the players that rewards, we could see a small issue there, like either people feel that they don't get enough XP or steal when playing arcade, or the ease of getting those unique rewards like the outfit one, and either sometimes people kind of complain with the amount of unique rewards that they can get out of the arcade. So all of that, we are looking into it, what we can do. But the first thing we're going to look into is basically we are, like I've said maybe twice now or even more, we are rebalancing arcade for the next season.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, we are.
I wasn't paying attention.
So with that then comes a potential fix all by itself in
Okay.
terms of different of those issues. If you're able now to complete quests faster than you were, then you're gaining more XP potentially and gaining more ease of getting those rewards. So we are going to look into that before actually like acting on the other topics. But that specific topic of the outfit, we do agree that there's a big problem there, and we are straight up going to apply a fix to that one. Not maybe next patch, but probably the one after. But I'll come back and I'll tell you if it's the case, so that everybody can have their sweet, unique outfit.
You better.
Yeah.
And you know what would be great? If those are pants for the island. Just saying. Roran is freezing. Roran is freezing right now. He wants pants. Question for Stefan. Okay, this question is 9 lines long. So, bear with me, people. Have you guys thought about changing the way? It's from John Elric. Have you guys thought about changing the way parries work? Right now, this could have ended there, by the way. But let's go for a full description of the problem.
Let's go for the story.
Right now, all the S tier characters, I don't know why S is there, just avoid the old guard system since you can't parry a bash. Have you thought about maybe making parries affected by guard switch delay or lowering the parry window to 300 or 200 milliseconds before your attack hits? This will make 500 millisecond lights still reactable to block, but not parry, making 500 milliseconds lights much safer to throw out while not changing too much. Combine this with enhanced lights for some characters, and you could make chain-based characters much better and rely less on reaction and more on prediction. Want me to read that again?
Okay, let's try to break down a few of the top points of this. So in terms of changing the timing to be able to parry, this we don't want to do. We've tried it a little bit. It's too traumatic. It's too major a feel change for the existing game. So we don't want to do that. When it comes to slightly reducing the length of the block or the parry window, this is something we have played with on and off. Right now it's a 200 ms window to hit parry. It could be 167, I think, and we'd be okay. I don't think anyone would feel a major difference. No one really did, honestly, in that test that we did with live players on Raider and Nusha some time ago. So that might be something we get to if we need to do it in that way. I think there's a better way to make offense a little globally better, which I don't want to talk about right now, but it basically comes from some of our experiments. And the other piece of that puzzle I want to just touch on is that even if parry were more difficult to do for timing reasons or whatever, it wouldn't make block more difficult to do. And right now block, I think, is much bigger of a problem because if you block, then you are safe from light and heavy faint guard break and whatever else you want. Whereas if you're parrying, at least there's some potential that you are open for some amount of time. I hope that answers the question, or at least part of the question.
Okay, John, you're good? Okay. So Stéphane, Soldier of Dawn wants to know, and I went from a super long question to, could the reflex guard for the assassins be replaced with a static guard?
So we don't want to do this either, but at the same time, if you look at Shinobi and Gladiator, who have extremely short, or especially in Gladiator's case, extremely short reflex guard times, they could be standardized across the whole assassin roster.
Christian, will we ever see new maps, any maps based around a Wulin art style?
Well, that's a good question. It requires a formal answer. What's his name?
Nelden.
Nelden. Nelden. This is the camera.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if that would happen. I cannot say, anything about it. So maybe in the future, we'll see. But hopes are open. It's a tricky question.
And by the way, through all the Q&A, we receive a lot of suggestions for things you'd like to see in customization options. Thanks for all the feedback on that front. Like, we're going to look into it, and suggestions are always welcome. Whether it's emotes, executions, art customization, like you name it. You can send it our way, and we're gonna take a look at them and see what is possible. Sometimes you can, sometimes we want to do stuff. So we'll see. Okay. I hope you're ready. This one is a question. For example, what do you think about adding more cosmetic options? Okay, and then I have a list.
That's for me.
It's a question? Where's your question there? It's not a question, it's a list of suggestions that you receive.
Okay, from Fenrir?
Yeah.
Nero? Adding, what do you think about adding more cosmetic? Okay.
It was only suggestions, yeah.
Adding colors, ornament placements, removing mandatory color patterns, adding color pattern. Oh, wait, that's
a list of suggestions. Thank you very much for it.
No, but those
And I like it. Skip it. Good. I'm skipping it.
But it's those are questions and things that we're already discussing,
Okay.
and that because we read everything on the forums, and we have a list, and we're looking into it like you were saying, step by step. We need to prioritize.
Step by step. Oh boy.
Good.
Sorry.
So let them come in, guys, and we'll see how we can tackle these.
And he finished by saying thank you for all the hard work you do. So thank you.
Thank you very much for the team.
So question for Stéphane from Xnuts. Are they going to fix/do? They know about the bug with Shaman, air headbutt and leap heavy phase through people, like they are holograms. If they're in the middle of an attack, I should A, hit them, B, they should hit me, C, we should trade. I shouldn't go through someone like a ghost. Ooh. I need whatever attacks they happen to be throwing. It's been 3 seasons of this. And I'm curious to know if they know about it, and they even know about it.
We know, yes, we know about it. It hasn't been 3 seasons, to be fair. And
It's been 5. No,
a fix is in the works. We should see it at some point during season 10, and it happens to multiple extreme forward movement attacks.
It's fun because by reading the question, sometimes I just have fun with the tone, but I can feel like how they felt when they wrote that question. Philip,
Yes.
how are you?
I'm fine.
Still good?
Yes.
I got that one.
From
I'm done.
next, from Kazoo the Vulpine.
Oh.
Do you plan to add more game modes to arcade that aren't quests? Personally, not me. Kazoo is saying that. I'd love to see an endurance mode with scaling rewards and difficulty.
Fun question. For sure, that arcade was designed with a mindset of you are doing these quests that have a narrative, and you're going from one small encounter to the other. They can go rather fast or take a lot more time if you're struggling. But the idea was always about having these chain of encounters. And then tying those all together with no narrative. So for sure, right now we're not looking at adding any new kind of game modes like he's suggesting. That is not our plan. So yeah.
Thanks. Stefan, we have 2 questions left on my list, and the 2 are for you.
Oh,
So from Meme Lord Thornbush, Conk recently had gotten the guard switch bug already on BP. Are the devs aware of this? And if yes, will Conk be fixed at the same time as BP?
So we have a fix coming at the start of Season 10. Basically, the Season 10 global system change that we want to make is that stance change will be 100 ms for everybody to be able to attack and so on. So this should fix the bug at that time as well.
I love when they ask, no, there are 3 questions left. There's 1 left for Christian. When they ask if we know about it. I love that. Question for Stefan. Any more details on dodge roll changes? The GB vulnerability was welcome, but dodge roll as well as unblocking and walking away. This is a very strong way to invalidate many characters' offense in 1v1 scenarios.
Yes, absolutely. Basically, if you can unlock roll or unlock backwalk or backstrafe, depending on the character, you can invalidate a number of mix-ups. You can really make it extremely difficult to initiate for certain characters. We don't want this. This is something we're going to patch most likely at the Season 10 mid-patch time.
Good. And last question of the day for Mr. Christian Diaz from Elf Jews 34. I saw that name before today. No?
Yeah, I think so.
Elf Jews 34. Are there any plans to add a single color pattern or have no colors options? Since having a black prior with little to no colors have proven to not be a major identification problem.
Don't say it too loud, because in fact we were sneaky. We put that in. We don't have too much team color, and since the Wooling, we're not enforcing any mandatory paint pattern. And seriously, on the Black Prior, we got into this little problem, and even after 2 years of life, we felt that we had enough team color on the concept, and then when we had the model, we're like, okay, we're missing some, so we added here and there. So for the other characters, it's part of the work that we're doing on revisiting. It's a long-term revisiting and improvement on the other ones. What I can say, an update, because we were talking about the filthy Spaniard, right? At the beginning, I think. So he's on the show. I'd like to thank him very much for the outstanding work he did on the, he did an inquiry on color palettes. Amazing job. And just for an update on that, we've done our work on our side, investigating, okay, does it make sense and all that stuff. And we're going to move 90 color palettes from the neutral bank to the attacker and defender.
holy shit.
So it's going to happen
9-0.
9-0.
Wow.
Yeah. He was expecting a bit more, but we felt that it was
Filthy
safe.
Spaniard.
So, but great work.
time.
If you have another something else you want to do for us, go ahead. So it's happening in the next coming month, but it's going to be there.
Good. So thank you very much, Philip, Stefan, Christian, for your
Thank you.
presence today. Thank you, everybody, for your questions. It was we had a bunch. We are always amazed to see all the suggestions, like what the Filthy Spaniard did, or receive recommendation for Fight or for Arcade. So to see your dedication is truly inspiring for the team. So this Q&A session was fun. We might do others in the future with maybe you or other people from the team. So thank you for your presence, and we're going to come back with a special edition of Community Corner focusing on the rabbits. I am alone now. My friends left. Me alone for this part of the show. Actually, now I know how Pope felt when he was alone on this couch. Feels extremely lonely. So I'm going to be alone to have fun. So for the community corner, so we had the rabbits invading For Honor on Monday for April Fool. So let's take a look at a couple of videos that you guys did following this event. So the first one is from Pixel Art Addicted. It's a montage of the rabbit invasion.
What the fuck? Ready to drink mead in the Great Hall?
God, I love this game. It's actually the name of the second video, but I thought it was a good transition. For a second video, it's a short one from Sketchy Toast. God, I love this game. Leap of faith. So third video. Everyone gangsta till the rabbit starts walking.
Flexion, flexion. Hey, I walk around like gang. Finger on the trigger. This chopper eat his liver. I came with the I'm leaving with a body.
Seriously, those rabbits, they make me laugh all the time. Okay, how am I supposed to say the name of that guy? MKKLRFFFLT. No clue. Rabbit season. Oh, poor you. You were killed by the rabbits. So Lumi Candle sent us the obelisk shall end the faction war.
And yet, here they still stand, searching for a sign of peace. I will show them.
So one more video to go before we are done for the day. So before leaving, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. I want to thank Stéphane, Philippe, and Christian to join us. It's incredible to have those devs come on the show and answer questions that you send us. We've had a lot of people coming on the show to interact directly with you, so thank you very much. And let's keep that going on. So before leaving, I want to introduce one last video, which is Blah! Honor from Nombushi. See you next week, everyone.
I'm about to end this man's whole career.
Oh no!
Okay.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
Mm. お前はもう死んでいる。何？もうあたぐりで無駄無駄無駄無駄無駄無駄無駄無駄無駄無駄無駄無駄。
Look at this dude. No, 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 no. Get this shit off me!
All around me are familiar faces, worn out.
疯狂就是力量，疯狂就是力量，疯狂就是力量，疯狂就是力量。咦
You're going to love this. You serious?